Hey family, it's Christy Lynn here. Welcome to Mother Misfit Tarot. If you haven't already, please like, share, and subscribe. Let's build the channel. It is so good to be back. Thank you so much for your patience. Yesterday was a much needed day of rest, and I'm feeling much better today. I hope you guys are doing well as well. I feel like there's a lot of continuances or continuations of sorts. Something about being reprimanded. Someone may have been reprimanded, or you're being the one that's reprimanding other people. There's something about interstellar, but it's like interstellar intelligence. The CPCA is also significant, and something about red rum is also significant. We're just gonna get into it, guys. And don't mind me when I'm like looking up and away, I'm channeling. So welcome to the reading. We often start with channeling messages and teachings, and then we will do a spread here to see what's coming up and any sort of challenges that you need to be aware of this week. Blessings, all of that stuff. If love comes in, it comes in, but typically it's whatever that your ancestors, that Jesus and the Most High wants you to know about this week. So yeah, there's a few things. Yeah, something about the CPCA are being reminded of themselves this week. Something about being ridiculous. Something is ridiculous. They're trying to cement, or something about cementing in routines is going to be significant as well. Their vision and mandate is intelligent, reigning over your parade. Something to that effect. And take what resonates, leave what doesn't. Excuse me. Something about roping something in, something about circus freak, or like someone's calling someone a circus freak. Again, something about being ridiculous. It's pretty interesting. So, and there's going to be like something very important about intel, certain information that you're receiving, intelligence that you're receiving. It's like something about a concussion. Someone had a concussion. I feel like to avert any sort of crisis, you're going to be well informed prior to having to make any sort of decisions about your life, and like to circumvent the situation. Um, Something about a close call. Someone's going to get a close call, reminding them that God is in charge. This intelligence, this intel that you're receiving about this circus freak is like, it's going to be very important for you to do some introspection about the information that you receive, to confirm one with the Most High and Jesus and the Holy Spirit and your angels. But again, there's something to this. It's like this nuance, again with the nuances. There's this nuance that you're receiving. Something about skills or skill development is also significant. Something about brick and mortar, or like building up bricks, like a wall or like a castle, or like you're building something. It could be like a fence or something like that, but there's something about bricks and like building it one brick at a time. Being very like gentle with yourself, but like gently reminding yourself that you are more intelligent than what other people might like give you or like tell you. You understand things in a much more complex way, almost in a multi-dimensional manner. And you're able to read things, read systems for filth. You're able to read systems and people for filth, but also for seeing where there's change that's also being made. So as I was getting ready for your reading, there was a bunch of downloads that came through. And I feel like we're going to touch on some of that. It's going to come through in the reading, but um, it's really important that as you are, I feel like some of you guys are going to be receiving downloads as you're having a conversation like with yourself. Like if you're one of those type of people, like I know I am, sometimes I'll have conversations with myself and with God. We'll go for a drive and that kind of thing. And I just need to like process, certain things, or say things out loud in order for me to understand what's going on. to see things a little bit more clearly. And there's something very important about the tonality of your voice, the tone of your voice. Something about frisky business as well. But introspection is going to be, again, very, very important. I feel like you're mastering this, or you're going to be encouraged to master this more often, because you are receiving direct guidance. And I feel like when you are having that conversation with yourself or with another person or with God, you're receiving downloads. And as you are receiving downloads and clarity, you need to be able to anchor that in through introspection, to really solidify what it is that you're being shown and validated. I'm hearing your intelligence is remarkable. They want you to introspect the parts of yourself that are skeptical about what it is that you are experiencing. The magic of the normal is what I'm hearing as well. And something about scythe, like scythes, right? Like the scythes, with like, death and like the scythe, but like, what they use in like the wheat fields and stuff. Something about a scythe is also significant. Um, Maybe you're cutting away or you're harvesting something. Take what resonates, leave what doesn't. But yeah, again, it's really important that as you are confirming, challenge yourself, challenge the pieces of you, the parts of you that are like skeptical to what could be, and like the magic that God is showing you. Again, like there's things about this life that are so significant and are so beautiful and so powerful. And when you are in alignment with Christ, when you are in alignment with God, beautiful things, magical things begin to happen. Things that you cannot explain, and you don't have to the wrong people, right? People who've also had experiences will be able to resonate with you. And as you are sort of evolving and growing, the more you believe, the more you're going to be able to see tangible evidence of your experiences, your spiritual experiences, and the encounters that you're having with the Most High. Again, it's not that skepticism is within you for a reason. Being skeptical is important, right? It's not encourage. They're not encouraging you to be like, believe every single thing that you see. Like, no, there should always be a layer of like, skepticism, or like a layer of curiosity and like introspection about things, and like always taking things to the Most High to be confirmed. I'm hearing a bit of a ringing in my ear, so that's significant. um don't lean on your own understanding, because your thinking is limited. As human beings, our thinking can only get us so far, right? We weren't designed to be solo, independent people, um, completely running on our own sort of will and power, whatever, right? Like, we are meant to have a relationship with the Most High. And as you're getting to know your gifts and also your purpose, like that's what makes that's what sets you apart. That's what makes people who are on the spiritual path, who are really honing in on their spiritual gifts and are in purpose. This is what sets them apart from others. Is the faith, is the belief of where they're going and who is leading them, which is God, right? And there's so many people, I feel like so many people, and it's been like this for centuries, is what they're saying. It's been like this for centuries, that like people have always had this carnal desire for power and for spiritual power and all this stuff, right? And people have done some pretty crazy, come on. I'm not even like, it's not even historically, like this is like you still see it today. People do some pretty crazy stuff for spiritual power. But when you have an innate gift and an innate connection with the Most High, he begins to use you as a vessel. So the spiritual power that you might have is not actually like yours, it's him. It's Jesus. It's the Holy Spirit moving through you. But there's multiple layers of growth and training and understanding that you have to go through. It's not something that happens overnight. It can't. It's impossible. Right? Meaning that like there's so much of the density and so much of the trauma, so much depression, so much of the lower vibrational behaviors and toxicity behaviors and that kind of thing um, that needs to be purged. And it can't be purged all at once. It needs to happen in increments over time. Although many of you and many people who have been called and have had a spiritual awakening of sorts or multiple spiritual awakenings are now on the path. And just like me, my path was like I just heard like superseded most, but like my path was like it happened very fast. My training happened very fast, and there were moments where things were very slow as well, but I was still in training, and I'm still in training. Like I'm always learning, but um, really helping to clarify with the collective because I feel like people have this desire for power, but they don't have the character to be able to wield it. Doors closing. That's significant. The door is closing on the people who who have been trying to use the spiritual power for their own selfish purposes. People who are demonic, who've allowed themselves to be capitalized and captured by demons and hosted by demons, or to be the host of demons and willingly cause chaos and conflict for people. So the door is closing on them for that. And I just heard like the rightful heirs to the throne. I've been watching a lot of Game of Thrones lately, but that's what I'm hearing. It's like the rightful people, the rightful heirs to God's kingdom are now stepping forward. And we're everywhere. There's probably billions of us all over the world, if not millions for sure, but we're all strategically placed in different locations all over the world to help to support in this next movement, this next shift, because it's going to be a bit of a doozy, right? We've experienced multiple shifts within the last 10 years, the last 20 years, 30 years, 40 years, 50 years, and it happens in waves. If you guys are curious to understand, the wave understanding and teachings, go check out Dolores Cannon. She speaks very specifically to the 3 waves of volunteers. And so this is going to be really significant in helping to kind of put things into clarity and into perspective. Oh, excuse me. Some of you guys might be getting sick. I'm not a doctor, but I take echinacea as soon as I start to feel sick. Of course, always talk to your doctor if you're on medication and stuff. Yeah, I think like more rest and contemplation is needed right now. You have some sort of decision coming up, and I feel like you're not feeling capable, which is really interesting because I've been reading your energy for a while and I feel like you're more than capable of deciding this. I don't understand why you believe that you're not capable. Like there's okay. So there's like intentional hesitation, right? Intentional slow down, reflect, adjust, learn, gather data, gather information before making a decision. And then there's other types of hesitation where it's based out of fear. And understanding like what is underneath that fear. What is the reason behind the fear? Why? Right? And this is why introspection and meditation and self-reflection is like so important because this is how you get to know yourself on a deep core level. And then you're able to choose and challenge yourself on whether or not like is this something that I want to do? Is this something that I want, what can I work on? Is this choice sort of like a make or break sort of situation? Like what are the risks and all this stuff? You could do the logical side of things, but also listen to your heart. Listen to it's like they're saying it's like the balance between your mind and your heart. if you're operating solely from emotions, that's not ideal. Or emotions can be very deceptive, right? But if we're moving and if we're operating solely from our mind, it can be equally deceptive because we're not getting the full picture. We're not getting the full scope of things. And so challenging what these fears are, these limiting beliefs are, this adverse, I don't know, something about adverse techniques, adverse technicalities, and that kind of thing. Interesting. Hmm. Advent calendars. Something about Christmas could be significant. I hope you guys like those readings that I posted in the other channels. Okay. I think that's it. Rest in peace, RIP. Something about incest and family violence. Okay. You could be learning about this in your family history or a family history. Something's coming to light about that. Yeah, something significant about violence and trauma. Disclaimer. A violet is also significant. Hmm. Something about ghouls as well, encounters, plant elements. Some of you guys are like researching the technicalities of plants, the technicalities of energy that is emitted from plants. Because when you first start seeing energy, and like I first started seeing energy when I was a child, but when you first start to see energy, you can start seeing auras around things, right? And like the shape of things, and you can see like the different colors emanating from them, and like everything has a spirit. Like this is why indigenous people all over the world, not just in Turtle Island, but all over the world, has always talked about that everything has a spirit. And so we must walk with intelligence. We must walk with respect. We must walk with, humility. And we must walk with intention, because everything that we receive, whether it's water, food, shelter, plants, that we have in our homes to eat with, animals, everything that we consume, that we use, is a gift from Mama Earth, right? And so giving thanks for all of the gifts and blessings that we receive from her, from the Most High, and understanding that we're interconnected, right? Like this is not woo woo. This is very grounded in our culture and many cultures around the world. Like this is not new age. It's not new, right? But somewhere along the line in history, we've cut that connection. That connection was severed from trauma and from this ego, patriarchal, desire to compete with one another, to be better, all of it, right? Like it completely, fractured and disregarded our culture and our history. And again, I'm speaking to a collective where, like, how are you living on a day to day? Are you in alignment with the teachings of our ancestors, right? Or are you participating in violence, lateral violence? Are you participating in violence to the land and violence to people, right? Even if I feel like there's something really significant here as well, is that like some people are behaving in sin, and some people are going against one another and causing conflict and chaos again, right? That's all going to be illuminated eventually. But I feel like very soon, in the next couple, like 2 to 3 weeks, it's going to be pretty intense. So be prepared for that, right? And remember that like what other people have done is not a reflection of you. It's a reflection of them. So be really like mindful of that. But like people think that just because they do and say things behind closed doors, you know, if they're targeting someone specifically, and if they're just because that person, they don't hear that one person who's starting the chaos and conflict, right? Doesn't mean that this person won't know this, you know, like, and just because you're distant from someone doesn't mean anything. Energy doesn't lie. And the most important thing is that the Most High sees everything. So the Most High will let this person know to move accordingly, right? But people are sitting out here and pretending to be something else to the public. But yet they're still a part of this chaos and conflict behind the scenes, and everything, like God has the receipts to everything. Everything is documented in the book of life. And again, this is a learning opportunity for everyone. Not, I shouldn't say everyone, but for the people who've been a part of this chaos and conflict, they're going to be able to have an opportunity to redeem themselves and to come correct, to course correct. I feel like 46% of the people are not going to do that. They're going to continue on, you know, sinning and continuing on with that chaos and conflict. And you can't do anything about that, right? Yeah. Okay, 1 second. Okay. I really needed to go to the bathroom. Alrighty, welcome back. So yeah, there's definitely a lot going on. Again, you know, it's everything that was done in the dark is coming to light. Every single detail that people thought they were going to get away with, every whisper, every intent, every idea, every group, support group is what I heard. every single detail is going to be coming to light. And there's nothing that anyone can do about it. And again, this comes down and comes back to understanding who is in charge, which is God, understanding that as human beings, we're mere mortals. You know, and I say that's said with humility, understanding that yes, you know, we have the potential to become powerful beings. Like we are powerful beings when our minds are right, when our hearts are right, when our spirits are right, right? You know, when things are distorted or corrupted in our minds and in our spirits and in our heart, what we manifest is corruption and deception and sin, which is why we must come to the Most High to become purified and to go through the purification process. And that requires a certain level of honesty and humility that a lot of people aren't ready for. A lot of people would rather go to their grave before ever repenting. And that is their choice. Of course, you know, if you have been called, it's going to be very difficult for you to do that because you have a very specific mission on this earth. But some people refuse to do the work. And you have to learn, we all have to learn to accept that we cannot change anyone. We have zero control over people, places, and things. And people have to make that their own effort, that step forward in order to change and to become better and to do what's necessary to be better in God's eyes and not other people's eyes, not community, not funders, investors, whatever, fans, whatever. It's not, none of that matters. The only thing that matters is you and God. How does he see you? Only God's opinion matters now and for the rest of our lives, forever. Right? Like no one else's opinion should matter except God's. And how we conduct ourselves on the day-to-day basis will determine the nature of our spirit, will determine the nature of our mind, where we are currently in our mindset, currently in our heart posture, and our spiritual strength. We on our own had no spiritual strength. We can only gain that through a relationship with God and Jesus and the Holy Spirit and our spirit team, right? Like, these gifts that I have were given to me by God, and they were activated at various points in time in my healing journey in my life for a very specific reason, in a very specific mission, right? And so I feel like it's important. Do you want me to speak on that? Yeah. I think it's very important for some people that, do you want me to get into all of that? No. Okay. Don't get into the deep parts, but okay. It's important to recognize that you all have very specific gifts and talents and skills, a very specific skill set that is required at this time, required in this next shift, in this next phase, in the creation of the kingdom of heaven here on earth, right? And you must believe that you're a part of that. But at the same time, like, God is not going to give you your mission, your assignments, right? Your assignment for some. The Lord's not going to give you that, or give you provision, or give you, what it is that you need in order to step into your purpose until he can trust you. He needs to be able to trust you with it, with the gifts that you have, with the assignments he provides, with the provision that he's going to provide for you to be able to do his will on earth, not yours, right? And that requires a huge amount of training, a huge amount of willingness, a huge amount of honesty, and being able to heal and to be able to change and to be transformed, purified by fire through trial and tribulation, right? Because he must be able to trust you with, like, provision, people, resources, ideas, all of this stuff. He needs to be able to trust you. People, like godly sent people into your life. So he knows you're not going to be corrupted. And he knows that you're not going to hurt, if you have been praying for marriage or praying for, your future spouse and this kind of thing, someone who's godly ordained for you. And then the person comes into your life and then you treat them like ish. He's not gonna allow that to happen. He needs to purify you. He needs to transform you. But we have to be willing to be transformed if that's what we want. You do have free will, and you can say that's not what I want and say no, and then you will not get what it is that God had ordained for you. But yeah, and like, y'all gotta stop. Like, I don't say that, y'all. I'm not talking like that. Definitely channeling. You all gotta stop comparing each other. You gotta stop comparing your bodies, your minds, your spirits, your gifts, all of it, because it's doing you a disservice. And I feel like I'm speaking to all grown people, mostly grown people. And like, you should know better. You should know this. Some of you guys are healers, counselors, therapists. You know what I mean? And like, but people are still comparing themselves and competing with each other and all this stuff. And it's really, it's creating a mess. So do the work, heal yourselves, trust in your abilities and your gifts and your talents, and believe that you are enough just as you are. You don't need to be like this person. You don't need to have this sort of destiny. You don't need to have all of this in your own mind. You're creating chaos because you believe that you don't have what it is that you think you should have, or you think is your purpose, or you think whatever. Like, it doesn't matter what you think. The only thing that matters, like, respectfully, the only thing that matters is what he thinks, what he wants, what he deems is your destiny, is your calling. He is the one who provides the insight, the love, the healing, the redemption, the salvation, all of it needed in order for you to step into your true destiny. But he can't do that if you're constantly comparing yourself with other people and harboring jealousy and envy in your spirit and covetousness. He cannot work with you until you're willing to look at those parts of yourself and willing to heal that. So you can receive what is meant for you. And you will be grateful for what he provides for you. But no more of this comparing. It's nonsense, nonsensical. It doesn't make any sense. It's like you're telling God that your life, like you're ungrateful. Very disrespectful. Anyway, okay. Let's get into it. Oh. Oh. Thank you, Jesus. Thank you, Father. Thank you, Lord, so much for all that you do for us. On the side, what messages do you have for the collective to help guide them on their path in this moment? That is in their highest gift and presence of love. In Jesus' name I pray, amen. Okay. Okay. Some of you have been doing the work. I can tell from the energy, but some of you have been doing the work. You've been through the ringer is what I hear. You've been through the ringer, but you're doing the work. You're doing the necessary work to heal your inner child, which is then going to help others as well. And I feel like you have an inkling of what this means. An inkling, you're beginning, like things are beginning to open up for you, and you're beginning to understand a little bit more of what is expected and what is expected and what you need to do. So here's our spread. Okay, so well done. There's definitely a lot of betrayal energy, wounds that you've had to heal from. I feel like there's a really important thing that you need to cut ties with a Capricorn, Taurus, Virgo, or someone who's just very materialistic. I think this person, you leaving this person is going to trigger an awakening for them. It's going to trigger a death and a rebirth, right? But they can't do it as long as you're connected to each other. And I feel like you've been sort of dragging your feet with this. You've been hemming and hawing about this, seeing if there's like other ways you can do it. Maybe if I'm just more compassionate, maybe if I help this person, maybe if, I teach them or whatever. And like that, again, that's kind of like the pre-grieving phase of a relationship when we know it's not healthy for us and we're meant to end a relationship or end some sort of cycle with somebody. Could be with a Virgo, Capricorn, Scorpio, Taurus, Libra, Leo, and Aquarius, Sagittarius here as well. Doesn't have to be, but that's what I'm seeing. So, and that's the thing, like when we're sort of like pre-grieving, we're in a bit of like a bargaining phase of that denial. It's a bit of denial, but of like the bargaining phase of the grieving cycle, right? We're like, well, what if I just do this? What if I just do that? And I feel like you've made so many accommodations for this person that it's time to let go. It's time to sever ties and to keep it that way. And I feel like you're struggling with that, or you will be struggling with that. But as you sever ties with this person, you're going to receive so much clarity of exactly what it is that you're meant to move forward on. This could also be something that some of you guys are having a hard time understanding the truth. You're having a hard time accepting the truth and being able to integrate this into your day-to-day life. So we're going to get into it. But I feel like this is necessary for you, for your own spiritual growth, so you can also heal what it is that you need to heal, especially around some mother wound as well, and something in childhood around betrayal, around behavior around betrayal. There's cycles around the behavior that you're not seeing yet, but it's important to protect yourself from those who seek to harm you and seek to use you. But at the same time, you need to be able to walk forward with a healed and sound mind and heart, to be able to understand that what other people have chosen to do to you, or like their behaviors, again, it's not about you. There's nothing wrong with you. Okay. Other people's behavior, choices, and actions is a direct reflection of who they are. This is the fruit of their spirit. This is the type of energy that they're holding within their own hearts. All of the unhealed wounds within their own heart spaces then produce all of these wicked schemes, this wicked behavior, unjust behavior, unsavory behavior, choices, words, etc. Right? But again, it is not a reflection of you, it's a reflection of them. Now, that being said, your responsibility is to also tend to these wounds, your own wounds. You've been praying for clarity, you've been praying for illumination, and now it's coming this week in pieces. And it's up to you to be able to bring things together in alignment with the Most High. But your angels are helping to support you with this so you can heal from this properly and move on. There's something significant here around money. There's this toxic attachment to money, or someone around you has this toxic attachment to money. And it's like kind of bled into your world a little bit. Some of you thought this was like a phase. It's not. This is something that's deeply rooted within this person. The devil and the Nine of Pentacles. Deeply rooted in this person. 999 is also significant. But you must understand that your healing is needed in order for your wish fulfillment to come in. Again, the Most High is not going to give you what it is that you want, that you decided that you want. Maybe you made the decision. Congratulations. But the Most High is not going to give it to you if you're not ready. If you're still connected to certain people, places, or things, habits, behaviors, ways of thinking, if you're still attached to, these toxic, behaviors, ways of thinking, people, it's not a vibrational match for your wish fulfillment. But also at the same time, that if your wish fulfillment, for example, if it's a person, place, or thing, comes in, the people, in the environment, behaviors, the choices, all of that will wreak havoc on your wish fulfillment, on your manifestation. And that's not fair to you, and it's not fair to whatever you're hoping for, right? Whatever it is that you're wishing. And it's like, yeah, it's like I just heard, it's like a catch-22. Yeah, it kind of, I mean, oops. It kind of is, but it kind of isn't. It's not, you have to see things from God's perspective. And if you're having a hard time with that, ask him for the wisdom that you need in order to be able to hold and to bring in this wish fulfillment, or this person, this place or thing, this manifestation of yours, this dream. Because again, if you're not in the right mindset, if you don't have the right heart posture, you can cause more harm than good. And the Most High isn't going to allow that to happen, especially if this other person, I feel like it's a person, especially if this person that's coming in has done the work and is like is like God's precious little angel. Like, he's not going to allow anything bad to happen to her or him, right? So you must be willing to do the work to meet him halfway and to be obedient to it. What's this? So there is a major judgment happening here. I feel it has something to do with that catch-22 effect. Because it's not deceptive. It's not deceptive. It's like it's logical. It's God ordained logic and reasoning. And it's again, if you can't understand it with the human mind, it's because you're not meant to understand with the human mind, and you're not meant to lean on your own understanding. There's still more information that needs to come to you for you to fully understand the extent of the teachings behind why God is doing what he's doing and why this sort of process needs to happen. Um, Again, he's saying like people wish for all of these things to happen, like wealth, romance, relationships, marriage, children, all of these things. They have all these wishes for themselves in their life, and he wants to give it to them. However, as any good father would, he wouldn't give you more than what you can handle. And if he feels like you are not ready to handle these situations or these blessings that you want, he's not going to give it to you. Again, he needs to be able to trust you with these blessings. And do you even trust yourself with these blessings, right? Like what is the reason behind, the motive behind why you want certain things? Thank you, Jesus. Yeah, okay. I heard distillery. We're gonna shift gears here just a second, but like, yeah, it's really important to make note and to, if you have questions, like one, don't question God, but like if you need more clarity, bring it to him. That's why you have a relationship with the Most High, right? Like, go talk to him, ask questions, seek diligently, with humility that you want to understand. But again, what did I say? 42%, 46% of people aren't gonna do it. They're not gonna change. They're not gonna do what is necessary to bring in what it is that they want, their blessings. That's also in alignment with the Most High's plans too. Okay, now I feel like that message is complete. You're going to receive clarity and insight and truth around deception, around the lies that people have been saying. Again, it's coming right back to the messages in the beginning. There is literally nothing that happens on this beautiful green earth that God doesn't know about. Even if someone who had sinned and slandered someone, for example, and they know that the person they slandered about or was targeting doesn't know the truth, that doesn't mean that God doesn't know. God sees everything and he will move accordingly. And I feel like for some of you, there's a need to heal those wounds, because he doesn't want the wounds around having other people or seeing other people betray you, seeing other people slander and gossip about you and that kind of thing, because he doesn't want you to be afraid of them. Don't be afraid of these people. Don't care about what they have to say about you, because at the end of the day, and I've had this sort of thing happen to me, again, I said like my entire life, but even in when I went to my last treatment in 2018, I had a very similar situation where I had to deal with slander and someone like was trying to get me kicked out of treatment and I didn't do anything, right? So, and what I learned about that experience is that when I know my truth and God knows my truth, that is all that matters at the end of the day. I have zero control over other people, places, things. So if you know that God is constantly watching you and can see your heart, can see your intention, can see the way you think, and obviously can see your actions and behavior, don't you think he's going to like do something about that? Or do you think you're above God? Right. Again, very disrespectful. Yeah, very disrespectful. But he doesn't want you to carry that baggage, because not everyone operates like that. You know, the new norm of what's going to happen is people are going to be walking with integrity. People are going to be walking with honesty. People are going to be walking with authenticity and with love and appreciation. But until that day comes where everyone is behaving as such, we have to be mindful of the environments in which we are in, the people that are surrounding us, that we're allowing to surround us, to influence us, to support us, right? You have to also be mindful that if your blessings were to come in, can you trust the people in your life around you with that knowledge, with that insight, with that access to you? All of these things matter. And so you're going to learn, hold on. He doesn't want you to carry this baggage because he doesn't want you to be afraid. Not everyone in the world operates like this, but there's a big chunk of people who do. So now you know, or you're going to be learning how to manage and to move through this type of energy, right? So we have the Page of Wands or Page of Swords, Seven of Swords, the World card, and the Seven of Wands. So you're going to be taught and trained on how to move through this type of energy on a bigger scale. On a bigger scale. He doesn't want you operating from a place of fear and like having your nervous system be activated every time you find out that someone's talking about you. Yeah. Oh my gosh. Beautiful. Oh my gosh. Okay. Okay. This is where the love stuff comes in. We're going to get into in just a second, but but it's really important that you remain open and willing to learn and to let go of the past. Whatever is harming your mind, body, and spirit, give it to the Most High, heal from it, let it go, move forward. Trust that you have become stronger because of this experience. Trust the wisdom that you have gained from learning from this experience as well. It's very spiritual in nature. And now you know. Now you know. Okay. Or you will be knowing. And also on the other flip side of things is that the other parties who participated in the slander and the deception, corruption, et cetera, they will have to answer for their crimes, right? Whether it's like physical, legal issues or spiritual. Spiritual court. Because at the end of the day, everyone answers to God. Everyone answers to their own actions, choices, and behaviors. No one is exempt. No one is exempt. I've gone through my fair share of karma. I had to learn to work through and heal from. And now I teach other people how to move through and work through theirs while becoming better people because of it, right? We don't allow our pain to make us victims. We allow our pain to transform us into better people. And so we can better help to serve others and the world and the planet and the animals in this lifetime. And our children, because they deserve more than anyone on this planet. Our children deserve to have a bright future, a solid future that's grounded in love and intention, right? And humility and safety. Yeah. Okay, let's get to the love portion. I feel like you're making some sort of choice to help someone with the Two of Wands and the Six of Pentacles. So you're making a choice to help someone. And I feel like this is what's causing it's causing internal conflict here. But I feel like it's also going to cause conflict within the community, within the environment. It's going to cause some sort of competitiveness, some sort of conflict. But this is a huge blessing because we have the Lovers card, Gemini energy here as well. So I gotta hide them. So the Lovers, Capricorn, Taurus, Virgo, male, masculine energy here. Although it's going to cause conflict, it's almost like it's a disruption. It's a disruption. And it's not, I don't feel like it's the bad disruption because we have the Lovers card underneath the deck. And it's showing me that there's more to this story than meets the eye. You wanted illumination, you got it, is what I heard. This is a part of the illumination factor. So when this blessing comes in and it causes conflict and it stirs things up in the community, in your family or whomever, wherever, take note of that and make note of who is there for you, who's going to celebrate you, and who's going to deny you, who is going to pretend that you don't exist, who's going to pretend that you don't matter, who's going to treat you different. This is a part of the exposure. This is a part, you're going to see everyone's character exactly for who they are, based on their choices, based on their choice of words, actions, behavior, and energy. What people choose to say, what people choose not to say, what people choose to do, what people choose not to do. You are going to witness. It's almost like a whole cascading effect you're going to see from this one choice. And this was the blessing. This was that clarity that's going to be coming in for you, Ace of Swords. And it may cause some heartbreak. You may be disappointed, but that's what comes with the blessing, right? It sucks. Believe me, it sucks, but I'd rather know than not know, right? So I feel like there's an understatement here that's also being highlighted in terms of like not knowing about a certain connection. Two of Cups here. There's more to the story that meets the eye, but there's an understatement. I don't know if you're understating the experience for some reason. I feel like you might be moving too hard in your logical sense. I do see you trying to balance, or you're being encouraged to balance things out into your emotions. Again, that mental and emotion. We're almost done here. We're going to be wrapping up. Aligning your mind and your heart and making a sound decision. But I feel like if you're struggling with believing this, you need to bring this to God. Again, like you can watch a million readings, but and come up with a million different conclusions, or you can have one conversation with God and a meaningful conversation with him and bring it to him. Ask him for confirmation and validation. Although I feel like he has been confirming, he has been validating. I feel like this is something that's a bit of a repetitive thing with you. And it's like you need to believe and trust. I should have restarted my computer before we did this. But yeah, you're making some sort of decision about this. But there's fear. There's fear of change. I feel like your friend circle, it's fear of change, but it's also like being loyal. Who are you loyal to and who's loyal to you? Who are you loyal to? And I feel like there's three people in your life, Gemini significant, air sign significant. There's three people in your life you feel you can trust, but the Most High is going to show you something about these people, about who it is that you can actually trust. Yeah. And it's like through this experience, especially if you've been manifesting solely from a logical level, logical standpoint, you're kind of missing some key elements. Like, you know, on a table, it has four legs. You're only on two. You need the other two in order to fully have something grounded, have something stable. That stability that you're looking for after having experienced and healed through this massive ending. I see you moving forward and making this love offer to this person. So oof, yeah. Okay. I feel like some of you guys in the near future, you're going to be in disbelief about something that you're learning about someone. It could be a mother figure, mother of your child. What sign are they? Could be a water sign, Cancer, Pisces, Scorpio. Full on judgment. You're going to be seeing things very clearly of what they had done, and it's going to suck. This person is going to try, and they can have water sign placements. They don't, their sun sign doesn't have to be a water sign, but this person is going to try to fight for your relationship, and that's what's going to hurt the most. It's going to hurt having to walk away from them. But you have to be really mindful and careful. And I feel like you know this, but like you have to be mindful and careful because in like not going back to this person if you've ended things, don't entertain that because you're just going to hurt yourself of like what it would be like to be back with this person. Because if you choose to go back to this person, what you are teaching them now is that you're teaching that this type of behavior, whatever it is that they had done, is okay. If this person does not have the capacity to change, and if you've given them multiple chances, they've shown you exactly where you stand in their life and how much they do not respect you and their unwillingness to change. If they're going to change sometime in the future, great. If they're going to change, that's between them and God, but you don't have to be a part of the equation for that to happen. I feel like you were sent into this person's life as a blessing, and they totally fumbled you, and they completely disregarded your mind, your heart, everything. And they use you solely for their own selfish purpose. So, and that's what I mean. Like, that's exactly it. Like what we've been talking about. This is why it's important that we do the healing work so we can be prepared for the blessings that, you know, we've been praying about. But also, like, yeah, be mindful that you're not teaching people, you know, to disrespect you and that you're okay with that. Because, yeah, unless you are, but I don't think you are. Excuse me. Okay. So I see you taking care of yourself and nurturing yourself, putting a lot of energy into your life, into yourself, and like just resting and again taking really good care of yourself. I see you sitting in a stance of like, you know your worth, you know your value, regardless of what's happening. People are now changing their mind about you, although there's still a little bit of doubt in some people's minds. But people that have overlooked you in the past are now taking a second look at you and wondering like, holy crap, we made a huge mistake based on lies that were spread by someone who was either jealous, had ill intent, had an agenda, you know, something that went on for way too long, has gone on way too far. I feel for some, this is a huge deal. This is a huge, 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 huge deal. I'm speaking a lot of money. A lot of money was involved in these scenarios. There could have been at least 3 contracts, 3 to 5, maybe even 8 contracts that were completely disregarded. People disregarded you for these contracts based on the deception that was spread about you, the lies and deception. And people are now seeing they had caused this major loss in your life. They caused major disruption, financial hardship in your life. A lot of people don't even know what to do with it. They don't know how they can make things right. I feel like some of them don't want to make things right, but they're going to be forced to in some way or another. Yeah. There's something really significant about you speaking to their inner children and like their inner child. They are replaying things from their childhood in their adult life, and people are now witnessing these things, and it's causing a huge wake up call. Are any of these contracts going to come back? Yes. Some of these contracts are going to come back. 2 to 4 contracts may come back, may circle back. They're not, some of them are not going to be as big as you thought they were. Two of them are just going to be kind of helpful and supportive, but it's not going to bring longevity. Um, okay. I feel like there's something else. Yeah, a lot of people feel really bad. A lot of people feel really bad. Okay. Okay. So I feel like there's a lot to be said about your growth and like how far you've come. Again, reminding yourself when you are making important decisions to slow down, making sure that you're balanced. I mean, I just feel like I'm reiterating stuff now, but okay, we're gonna do advice here. Yeah, decisions. Remember, be optimistic about the scenario as well. Oh, healing, hope, and I feel like generosity is also coming out here. You're being blessed to be a blessing after some major hardship. I feel like healing and stability is really significant. Spiritual stability, you're coming through on the out on the other side of this. You're completing major cycles. You're healing about this. There's a period of like after a period of not communicating, you're moving forward towards this fire sign. Could be in Aries. It can have Aries in their chart, Pisces, Sagittarian energy, Libra here as well. So you've learned some major lesson, and you're healing through something really significant. It's important that you celebrate yourself in whatever way you see fit. I don't know. I heard champagne. I mean, I don't drink, but like, you know, I'll get some fancy bubbly stuff that looks fancy, right? But um celebrate yourself. Get a massage, go on a day spa, go on a day trip, whatever you need to do to celebrate yourself, do it. You deserve it. um trust that this trust that you the choice and the decisions that you're making, especially if you've done the work and you've gotten confirmation from the Most High, but you're on the right path. I think it's important that you need like that you stop doubting yourself, because I heard like harboring a lot of resentment. I get it. I get it. When you're surrounded by people who genuinely don't want to see you succeed or genuinely don't want the best for you, you're going to feel that sense of doubt. You're going to feel that sense of like unworthiness, because inadvertently and sometimes even subconsciously, because as human beings we have this need. It's an innate need. It's a need for survival, right? We have a need to be accepted by our community, and sometimes it's so deeply ingrained that people will do some pretty crazy stuff in order to feel accepted by their community, their family, et cetera, including and not dismissing, not neglecting the fact that people will sacrifice parts of themselves, their own character, their own morals, values, and that kind of thing in order to be accepted by the collective or like the community, the hive mind. And it's important that you understand your role and your part in all of this. And I'm not saying that you are one of those types of people that would sacrifice, you know, your own well-being, your happiness and like your morals and your values and stuff, but like obviously you've gone through some pretty big stuff where you've seen people completely disregard their morals and values for the sake of money, for the sake of acceptance, blah blah blah. And the extent that people will go to protect that and to protect their image. um excuse me, I see something really significant happening with the Queen of Cups, something about patronizing. This could also be a pastor or a former pastor. What about them? Oh, Okay, thank you. Wow. Excuse me. 1 second. Sorry about that, guys. When I'm channeling, it completely clears out my sinuses. So I needed to get a tissue. But okay, so this Cancer, Pisces, Scorpio is going through like there's going to be a major epiphany for you, but this is a major what's the right word? Damage. It's like damage control. Like this is something significant is happening here with the Tower moment and the Hierophant energy. This person is getting either reprimanded, arrested, condemned. I don't know, there's something major that's going to be happening with this person, and they're going to be stripped of their title. Some major consequences are happening. Yeah. But the thing is that I don't feel like you're going to feel bad because I feel like you've really cut any sort of emotional tie to this person. But it's through their consequences to their actions, right? This could be an organization here as well, right? With the Hierophant energy, it could be a church, it could be a company, organization, nonprofit, whatever organization of some kind, an institution. That's what I was trying to say. Or it could be a person, Taurus, Virgo, again here, Scorpio, but their consequences is going to help to push you and confirm to you to move forward to this fire sign and towards your 10 of Pentacles. Longevity, but it's also commitment. The 10 of Pentacles represents like marriage, family, generational wealth, not just finances, but like spiritual wealth here as well. I just got a message from my son. So, you know, someone could be asking you for a favor here as well. Or you're asking someone for a favor for this person. But it's really significant that this is going to shift you towards this new timeline with this person. Yeah. Don't feel bad about their karma. It's how it's going to give them the opportunity to learn from their mistakes. If you could see karma as that way, just as I'm sure you've had to deal with karma in your past or at some point in your life too, it helped to teach you. And hopefully it helped you to become a better person and not just like more miserable, right? Like it's meant to teach us, to be able to show us, like, oh, our behavior has consequences. Oh, our choices have consequences, right? And yeah, so this person needs to go through something major. Like obviously they didn't heed the warnings, you know, and God has to step in and make sure things are balanced and everyone, like the good people are protected, the good people, like the good people, the people who didn't break the law and all this other stuff are protected, and like everything is done in a just and final way, which is really beautiful. So really give thanks to the Most High for this as well. I also feel like you have to hold on. I feel like you have to fight for this new relationship. It's like you have to move away from, you're learning, you have to learn. You will be learning how to fight for this relationship in a way that isn't based out of control. You're moving away from having to control the situation, control outcomes, and trusting God and the Most High, well, God, the Most High, and Jesus and everyone to sustain you and to guide you towards this person, towards your wish fulfillment, with all of the knowledge and love for self and respect for self and others intact. You won't be losing yourself. Whatever is meant for you and is sent from God, you won't have to justify, you won't have to bargain, you won't have to sacrifice, you know, like parts of yourself. Like as you grow and evolve, there might be some things that you have to learn to let go of, but like essentially when things are coming in from the Most High, you won't have to sacrifice yourself the way that you may have had in toxic relationships in the past, right? Maybe someone didn't like the way that you breathed, didn't like the way that you spoke, didn't like your energy, didn't like the way your hair was, whatever, like all these stupid little things that like insecure people like to nitpick at. Um, like you won't have to sacrifice your self-respect for what it is that God is bringing in for you, right? This person, this relationship, whatever, this blessing will help to sustain you, will help to bring out the best in you. And you will feel good about it too. Like you'll feel good in it and you'll want to thrive in it, in that space. And you can also share that with other people. The overflow of the blessings is what you can then share with other people, and give them hope as well, that having a healthy relationship at these standards is absolutely possible, mainly because the Most High had provided and had guided both of you together. So beautiful. Alrighty, guys, I love you so much. I hope that was helpful. Have a really good week. Again, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. If you want to come check me out in Sweetgrass Healing Center's Sacred Cedar Circle, which is our online platform, I do deliver weekly readings over there as well. It's a very contained, private, secure, safe space where I also, like, I have all of my wellness programs there as well. But in the Sacred Cedar Circle, we have a small community that is slowly growing, where we're able to meet with like-minded people and to be able to share, in the teachings that we hold, and to really step into who it is that we're becoming. So I love you guys so much. Mwah! Have a really good week. We'll see you on the other side.